This time on 818 Custom Garage, we're back on the Camaro. Hey, we got to do some serious work on this thing. It's been sitting a little bit. I have not been giving it enough attention. So for a lot of our RC fans, you may see a little less RC content, so that we can get this thing fired up and finished. It's a beast. We've got a lot of like really finite nits noids to get through. Today, going to be working on some race car fuel system plumbing. So we're using Brown and Miller, some XRP. I don't know if you can see it right there. That is a Brown and Miller crimping machine. It is not mine. I had to borrow it because they are extremely expensive, but you can really make all your fuel system lines and everything perfect that way. So we're gonna get into it. Hope you enjoy it. Let's get this beast rolling, right? So check it out. We got a small block in there still, right? We're not doing the LS thing. This thing's pretty beastly though. So it is fuel injected. A lot of things we were running into. So this is a fast RHS intake. So it's got the rails, you know, it's a really nice setup. I actually, the rails are normally red. I stripped the anodize. I had them polished and then re-anodized black. So it all blends in pretty nice. The only thing with these rails is you can see that it's canted, right? It's to direct the injector a little bit more at the valve and the intake flow. A lot of them stand them up straight. Well, when you stand them up straight, they can go past a lot of this stuff. When they're at an angle like this, oh man, the fuel lines run into everything. It's a huge pain. So I'm going to do some custom, because I want to stay -8. I could do this in -6, but so if you look at all these fuel rails, super nice. They are all ORB, which means it uses an O-ring, right, for all the fittings in the end. This is a pretty nice fitting. This is an XRP, and this will swivel and twist. It is very tight, but it's got the ORB already on it instead of having like a standard B-nut like this one does. So this one, nothing's going in that fitting. So this one I can get in there. It's got a swivel on it. We've got to make this loop line, right? That loops the rail to rail. This one's a lot tighter with this. This is the coolant temp sensor for the Holly. So got to have that. Got another coolant temp sensor that's going to be, that's in the back over here for the dash. This stuff is all so tight here too. There's so much going on in the back. Got the fuel pressure regulator. It's got to come out of there. We're going to have the lines kind of go down through, kind of down this part of the tunnel, then down and across. And I'm going to clamp them to the bottom of the floor there. And then they're going to come all the way out over here. So I used to have a bulkhead connector kind of right there for these two. We're going to cut those, move them back a little bit. So we'll get that done. I don't know if we'll get all this done today. It's a lot of work to redo all these. So we'll redo these two end fittings. I got a new bracket. Got a nice bracket to do new bulkheads. We'll mount that to the side of the frame. Got all our fittings from XRP. But we're going to use the Brown and Miller machine. Same machine that XRP uses as well. So we're gonna get into it. Let's see if we can make those, see if we can make this first line that's gonna loop that front together and actually join it. So hopefully I can get it done. I've done a lot of this crimp stuff before, plumbed some race boats and stuff. I wanna thank Dan Luce from Luce Racing. This is his machine. Good friend. He is letting me borrow it. So let's get into it. Hey, so we're gonna, I don't want to do a whole tutorial on how to do Brown and Miller stuff, but we might speed up the process, but we'll at least show you crimping it. Already expanded the hose. After you expand the hose, you gotta trim it. We got our collar on. We're going to get this together, and let's hope I have to pull this stuff out. Okay, so you get it in there, you get your crawler all lined up. This thing is magnetic, it's cool. Man, beautiful. And what you do is you actually take your calipers, so you set it to, has all the settings about which, depending on which hose you're using. This is the polyester braid. If you're using stainless braid, slightly different setting on there. It's pretty nice because it's a swivel. Sweet, I like it. Yeah, I did a swivel on one side, and I try to do no swivels anywhere if I really don't have to, because that's one more area where things can leak. But this one's kind of a tight fit, and their XRP fittings are so nice. I mean, they fit awesome. So we're gonna get this over to the car, measure it up. We'll cut the other end, get the other fitting on it. All right, we got that line made. It is a snug fit. All fits through there. Looping that around. There's a tight fit with that fitting. So we tried to do the ORB fitting. Can't crimp it. It needs a special, I don't know, die maybe. It's too tight. You can't get into it. So I was able to get this to, it just fits with everything here. So we'll have to just make sure we get this thing in here tight before we go to throw this thing in. But it all fits. Dash 8. I like the black and the gold. I think it looks good in there. Man, this is the way to go. And you gotta remember, this stuff is all Teflon lined hose, so it's impermeable to all the nasty fuels out there. You can run alcohol through it, nitro, all that stuff. So this is the same stuff they use in NHRA, NASCAR. I just did not, this car is not going to move around all the time, so I just don't want to have issues with fuel sitting and rotten fuel lines out or anything like that. So all the fuel lines on this car are all Teflon or stainless steel hard line. So, but most of it's all Teflon. The main lines that were down underneath there, those are smooth bore Teflon, so they're pretty, and then they're stainless braided, and they have the covering over them, so they can take rocks and all the debris and all that stuff. So we're gonna go work on those fittings. Man, really happy with how that came out. Dig the black and the gold setup. This is gonna be a tight fit back here. There's a lot going on. I'm gonna throw the distributor in, in a mock-up stage so I can get that, because we got the regulator right there. We got to come out of that and go back down. We got the main feed on this side, got to come down, and so I got to make those lines. I don't think I'm going to do those today. Got a few other things to do today, but I just wanted to get that first line done, and we'll get those the two main feed and returns that are going to go go down to this bulkhead, and get that all done next. Man, hope you enjoy it. We're getting closer to getting this thing fired. We got most of the wiring all done on the inside of the car. The trunk's all done. I'll show you that. Engine bay is pretty much all done. I just got to this is the main harness. I got to plug all the sensors in, kind of maneuver a few things back through the firewall, and I think we'll be in pretty good shape. I was really trying to see, hey, where do I want some of these coolant fittings, coolant temp sensors, and then, fitting that the air motive regulator too. So got a couple cool fittings on that. It's ORB to ORB, but the direct screwed on to the end of the fuel rail. And then as you can see, I got my fitting mocked up on the bottom. Got a 90, although it's super tight to the bottom of the intake manifold. I have another one of those ORB fittings, but it's a 90, so that won't be difficult to compress and swedge on there. So, all right, next step, get the distributor in, start mocking a few other things up, and we'll start making the other lines. So we got these, got the main feed lines, feed and return lines trimmed back and new fittings on. So this is all full smooth bore Teflon that is stainless steel braided, and then has the I don't know if it's like a plasticky vinyl coating over it. It's pretty cool. It's nice because I have that running underneath the whole car. It's super protected there, which I like. But so you can see the lines are trimmed back a little bit. They've got those are Frigola fittings. Those are a fitting that has like a you can actually make these by hand. You don't have to crimp them. So what I'll show you too is on the original pieces, they are crimped, right? The ends are crimped, which is cool, right? Because when I had them made, I went and had the lines all, I measured them all out, and then I had them all crimped as I drop it. But, so what I did was I cut the end off, and you can see it's full smooth bore, stainless braided, and then it has the coating on it. So what I did is I measured kind of where I thought I wanted the main lines to come through on the car. So they're gonna go up through this channel. And then let me see if I can get underneath here. I don't know if you can see here. It's a lot of, but they're gonna go kind of underneath here, you know, over on top of the head. There's a bunch of space, and then go up through the tunnel and the back of the motor. So what's cool about these though is, you know, it's like I could have tried to pull the whole line out of the car and then recrimp it and everything, but I didn't want to do that. So let's see. Got a bunch of extra lines here and stuff. I think I got. So this is the type of fitting it is. This is a Frigola. XRP makes them. Earls makes them. A bunch of people make them. So let's see if I can do this by hand. And it's just like if you've ever made like power steering lines, same concept. So you got your nut, you got the olive. This one I've used before, and you can reuse them if you don't beat them up too good. So you trim it back, you put your nut on first, slide it on first, get everything set up. This olive, right, goes in here. And then when you sand, then you take this, slide it in, you pull the nut up against it, and it sandwiches all together and crimps it all together, you know. Pretty cool. That way you can make some of those lines and not actually have to use a machine to crimp them. They make these to work with like the convoluted tubing too now, which is pretty sweet. That's actually what this stuff is. These are some old lines that I made on some other stuff for people, and so this is full Teflon, braided, convoluted. These are Earls. This is an Earls fitting. Super nice. Still, they're a little on the bulky side, just kind of like a regular Dash 8. What's nice is you look at like these lines, very slim. The Dash 8 line's a little bit thinner because it's true Dash 8 race car stuff. So we took that, you know, we took those, cut those pieces off, and then we put those two fittings on. Then I've got two Union Dash 8s on there. And then, so we ended up making the lines that go up to the top, to the back of the fuel rails. These are them. So, Dash 8, these are 60-degree ends on the bottom. They're swivel, fully crimped, fire sleeved. I've got DEI fire sleeve on there. Instead of using the black polyester like I did on the crossover piece, this is the braided because I wanted a little bit more durability since it was going partly under the car and stuff. So that's at the bottom, it feeds all the way up. And this one goes to the bottom of the regulator. So I left the, you know, because it's pretty flexible stuff. So I left that flexible because it's got to make a pretty good bend in it. And up here, like this is the back of like the intake manifold right here, then all that section really doesn't need any protection up there. Probably don't even need the protection all the way up here, but doing the full fire sleeve, man, it just makes it look nice and it fully protects it. So did that on both lines. So I was really happy with how these came out. Still used the gold crimps up at the top to match, and then the bottoms they're actually black underneath there, but you know, I've got the sleeving all on there. So this stuff is super nice. This DEI, I really like a lot of their heat shield products. I mean, it's super nice stuff. So this would be, I would consider this more of a professional grade, you know, fuel line setup. So I've done a lot of it before, so I had a little bit of experience, so that helps. You know, so yeah, we got those made. What we'll do is we'll go get them installed on the car or get them mocked up on the car. I got the distributor mocked up in the car too, and all the wiring all mocked up. Had to fix a few little we had to extend a couple pieces on the harness, so we're gonna do that, and then we'll show you that too. Bang! We got a few lines attached in the rear. I don't have anything tight but mocked up, but I told you it's tight in there because we got this sensor for this is actually, I moved the Holley to the back. It just fit better, made it lower, gave me a little bit more room. I mean, this line there's a little bit of space in between my finger on either side. You know, there's space between there and the distributor, which is all you need. So then you can see how it comes right up here, a little bit more flexibility without there. Here's that, here's the return line, comes up, routes, does that loop over to the regulator. So it fits good, really happy with it. You know, like I said, everything's a tight fit. You know, this front one looks good. Move that. So this is one of the electrical connectors that I changed. On the Dakota Digital, they have these really nice, fully sealed, like legitimate OEM style connectors, but they're really bulky and things hangs up like almost that high. It's like, dude, I don't need that. So I cut the wires, I lengthened it a little bit, resoldered it, so kept it nice and low. You know, when the water necks here comes off over to that side. So it kind of gets, trying to make this aesthetically look good too, and functionality. This fast intake uses an LS style map sensor up in the front. The Holley has the wiring harness set up for, you know, a standard, you know, map sensor. So like the connector was different. Well, they say to use like a adapter connector. Well, it comes off here, and then it's got another big old donkey connector that hangs, and it was just all over the place. So I cut that. I lengthened those wires a little bit to give me a little more play, soldered them all together. So now we got a nice single, you know, plug, just like it would be like a factory style setup. So really happy wiring wise. You know, one thing coming in the front is here and here. Everything else is buried in the back over there. It's gonna be very busy back here, but I'm okay with that. It makes it look clean. The injector, we'll come over to the other side. The injector and ignition connectors are back here. So I got my firewall grommet in. That is a billet aluminum grommet. Looks cool though. So there is, let me see, it's tight. So that is the injector harness, you know, plug. That plugs directly to the distributor. And this white one that you can see moving around is for the injector. So the injector harness will come through here. We'll run everything underneath. Come out here to these two injectors, come out. These keep it pretty sanitary. This is the plug I was telling you about, because this one's going on the oil pressure sensor. You know, they just come up. It's super nice. Just bulky, it doesn't look very good. And my oil pressure sender is way down in there, hidden. One other cool thing about this Holley harness, that is fuel pressure. So I picked up a Where is it? We've got a thank you Motion Brakes Works, TBM brakes. Got a nice Rife 100 psi sender, and we'll put a XRP. I don't know, we might do the XRP aluminum one or a stainless one. Got an MSD hold down I gotta throw on still got a few more things wiring wise, but we'll do an elbow right off of the regulator, have it come forward. That harness will come out through here, plug right in there, so we'll have fuel pressure hooked up as well. So I think it's going to come out pretty sanitary. Look, I don't want to fully hide everything because I want things to be accessible to work on, because I'm going to drive this thing. So if something fails or whatnot, I want to be able to get to it without having to like tear everything completely apart, Same with like some of the wiring we did on the MSD, I think I showed this before, but I made that hidden plate so the MSD 6A box is behind there. Just gonna clean up some of that wiring down here still. I'm trying to finish that off. Did this the other day. That's the starter wire, from the trigger that goes down to the actual starter. Did some nice sleeving over it, heat shrinked it all, so protected a little bit too. So got to finish some of that up down here. But everything we powered everything up, so everything works. Now I just got to finish tidying it up, and really happy with all this fuel system work. Like I said, everything's super tight. Getting the right regulator back there to fit, and but man, it's coming together. So I think the next step on this thing, man, I don't know. We'll get all this fuel system wrapped up. Got to finish tidying up a little bit of the wiring inside the car. It's pretty close to. Get the AC ducting in for the vents. What else? Probably a few other little things I'm forgetting. So, but once we get that, all tidied up, we'll get the front windows in. The front. We've got the back quarter windows in. We'll get the door windows in. And then all the wiring will be pretty much done. And I think then we can fire this thing up. So we got all the trunk done. I finished all the trunk wiring, got it all cleaned up. All that's good to go. So I just really appreciate all the support. Like I said, I may slow down on the RC content just a little bit. I don't know. We still want to go out and have a good time. But I really want to get this car done. It's been sitting too long. And, really want to go enjoy it with the family and everybody else. So really appreciate everybody's support. Comment, like, subscribe. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. What other stuff you'd like to see, if I can do a better job with the Camaro. I know I don't want to show every little tidbit because I feel like it can get boring and tedious. Keep crushing it. See you on the next one.